One of these players might be the best value in all of Dynasty football right now, and he's still available in most leagues at his pre draft price. The NFL has changed everything for these five guys, and nobody's noticed yet. Let's fix it. So, Cam Skattebo. The biggest worry with Skattebo was them drafting Jeremiah Love. Well, and also the injury, but the main thing was Jeremiah Love. Obviously, they didn't. But there's more. They actually improved their offensive line by drafting Francis Mauaga, and they announced that they're moving him to right guard. So now all five O line positions for the Giants are filled, and all five are above average starters. This will be the best offensive line the Giants have had in years. And now, what doesn't really make sense to me is before the draft, Scat was RB21 on KTC. And now, after the draft, with no Jeremiah Love and an improved offensive line, he skyrocketed all the way up to RB19. That's it. He moved two whole spots. This doesn't make sense to me. If we moved him down for all the worries in his situation only has improved, then why hasn't his value gone up? See, that's it. He should be a top 15 to 12 running back, but you can get him way cheaper. You can have him for a mid to late 2026 first, and I would much rather have him than any of the guys that's currently going there. Now, technically, this is cheating because it's two guys, not just one, but this is the same argument for both players. So I got Alec Pierce and Josh Downs. So the Colts were rumored to be targeting receivers in the draft. However, they actually didn't all the way until round 7, and they drafted Deion Burks. So Downs is up from wide receiver 49 before the draft to wide receiver 42 since. And while Pierce remains virtually in the same spot value wise, he just signed a massive contract in the offseason. So with him Downs being the last two known commodities at receiver, I feel like both are going to get a pretty big value jump this year, along with Tyler Warren. I feel like this passing offense is going to be very consolidated. You can get both of these guys for pretty cheap. I think Pierce is going for like anywhere from the 110 to 203, and the Downs is usually a 202 to the 206 range. And I would love both of these guys for those prices. I think they have a lot more upside than the guys you can get there. Last year, Pierce averaged 12.2 fantasy points per game, just above guys like Justin Jefferson and Devontae Smith, and zero point 0.2 points per game under a guy like Ted. And their prices are vastly higher than someone like Alec Pierce. And Downs is a more projection based buy, but for a second rounder in a weak class like 2026, I like taking the chance. So far, we've only talked about players who gain value by not adding a player. Well, here's one that gained value by adding a player, and that's Tyler Shough. If you don't know who Tyler Shough is, you need to. Obviously, as everyone knows, the Saints drafted Jordan Tyson to go along with Chris Olave. I also think the addition of Oscar Delp is a sneaky add to this offense that should provide Shough with a little bit more security. Shough is looking to improve on his Rookie of the Year winning season, where he only started 9 games, but he averaged 20 fantasy points per game and gave you a solid baseline of 3 rushing touchdowns. So he's not Lamar Jackson or anything, but the floor of what little rushing he did do makes him a little safer. I'd say Shough was one of the biggest fantasy surprises last year, and now it's all wheels up. He started as a quarterback 22 before the draft and is up to QB 18 right now. And honestly, if the hype train keeps rolling and we start seeing training camps of him throwing passes to Jordan Tyson, etc., I think he could go up to a top 15 guy before the season starts. Now, this next player is probably my favorite buy of the whole video, and that's Chase Brown. Chase Brown had absolutely zero competition brought in, and his KTC value has remained unchanged. He hasn't moved since before the draft to now. He's going to continue to feast in the Burrow-led offense last year, and from week 13 on, when Joe Burrow returned from injury, he had 4 out of 6 of his games were top 10, and 2 of the 6 were top 5 weekly producers. This offense could easily be top 5 in the NFL, and honestly, I'm not sure they've done enough to fix their defense in one offseason. So I expect them to fully keep chugging and be in plenty of shootouts. So I love Chase Brown as a buy this year. And now the most unknown and maybe the most fun guy on this video, and that's Bayshaul Tuten. Now I know you're going to say, well, they brought in Chris Rodriguez. And while you're right, the big worry for the Jaguars were that they were going to draft a running back in the 3rd or 4th round, but they didn't. Tuten was an RB23 before the draft, and he sits as the RB23 after the draft. C-Rod doesn't scare me enough to get off of Tuten, and obviously I don't think anyone ever projected Tuten to be a full workhorse. I don't think you're going to see 300-plus touches or anything like that, but I think they added C-Rod to stabilize the backfield instead of drafting a rookie like Coleman or Singleton that would have dominated the backfield. So to me, Tootin is a solid 200 plus touch guy in what should be a really good offense this year, and I expect him to score a lot of points. And you can have him for either a late first or early second. So these are my biggest risers since the draft. Who makes your list? Leave your thoughts below, and if you enjoyed, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.